everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. It's an absolute pleasure to be welcoming Lee back to our channel. And you know, I hope I was welcoming you on the channel in better circumstances, and we had something more happier to talk about. But we can't escape what the football world is facing right now, especially as Manchester United and Arsenal fans. What happens from here, Lee, after the ESL backlash? Can we actually get Kronke or the Glazers out of the club?
Do you know what? That's still going to be tough, because ultimately, if they don't want to sell, they're not going to sell. And I'm going to be honest with you, Man United fans that I've spoken to, I don't think Manchester United have been really happy with the Glazers since day one.
Yeah.
So how long goes that? 20 years? Must be getting on for that now. Like the green and yellow,
the green and gold.
I remember shirts and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
They're still there. They're still there, you know. And also, with not so much, what I would say, not a great deal of love from the Manchester United fans. They're still there. We've had Kronke now probably about 10 years. Enough's enough, you know what I mean? I think that the one good thing, from an Arsenal fan's point of view for this European Super League, it showed that he showed his hand. He showed that he doesn't care about Arsenal winning trophies, the fans or whatever, because there was a possibility, and the same for Manchester United with the Glazers as well, that could have been kicked out of the Europa League at the semi-final stage. Could have. I'm not saying it would have, but possibility. Did it bother them? Not really. So no real worry about winning a trophy this week. I do think, and I'll be honest, that Chelsea's game, Liverpool's game, and now the Arsenal game last night has affected, I wouldn't say results, but affected the mindset of everybody at the clubs and all that. Like, you know, for instance, Arsenal yesterday had to have the team buses in by 4 o'clock. So they weren't blocked. You know, the game against Chelsea, they were. So, you know, I think it's had an effect on the clubs and everything like that. Manchester United have not played yet. We'll see what happens with you guys. But ultimately, it was a real kick in the teeth for fans and really what I think about caring. And it's opened their eyes. And what it's done for us, and I'm pretty sure you're not as a fractured fan base as ours, but our fan base is very fractured. Has been for a very, very long time. You know, the Wenger in, the Wenger out. Even like when Emery in, Emery out. Certainly Arteta in, out, like a bleeding dance we are. But it is very, very fractured. It wasn't like yesterday at the protest. It was everybody wanting the same goal. It weren't protesting about the Super League yesterday. It was protesting about an owner that doesn't care and only cares for the dollar. And I will say dollar, not pound.
Absolutely, Lee. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And you know, before I get into the protest yesterday, which I really do want to, but I want to ask you, the precursor to this is obviously the Super League. I want to ask you how it made you feel as a fan, because I'll tell you how it made me feel. It was an absolute disrespect for two reasons. One reason was that they said that this is for the Asian fan, this is for the non-legacy supporter. They don't watch the game anymore. And here we are watching games that start at 1:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
We watch it till 4 a.m. We put out videos right after the game. We're doing the editing, but we're putting it out. And it's disrespectful to say that we don't watch the game or we don't care for the game just because it's Perez wanted to reduce the time. Let's not get into that. But it's a kick in the teeth, like you said, and it's disrespectful. And like you said, they've laid themselves bare here. They only care about the money, and they don't realize that the front door, the keys to the front door might belong to them, but they're on rent. This is our club. This is not their club. And I don't think that they realize that. And obviously, they don't care about the sport. So I feel disrespected. I feel betrayed. I feel cheated. How did you feel, Lee, when this came out? Because obviously, you have seen sort of the transition from Highbury. They took your stadium away from you. And now, like you said, they're trying to take away what football means in a sense for sort of people who have been brought up around that area. So what does it feel? How do you feel, and what did it mean to you?
I think what you got to do is you got to look at it from 2 points of view. You got to look at it from a foreign point of view, and also from like the say like the English or the local fans' view. Now, the game's gone global. It's gone global because of what it is. You know, social media has gone global. You'd be very, very. I'm flabbergasted that, for my own self, that I've got fans in Australia and India and America and things like that. You don't realise. And with football now, it is a global game. So it's not just about the English-based fan. I get that. It is about fans from different countries. So you've got to try and make it work for them as well. But also the paying fan as well deserves the respect, because if it wasn't for the match-going fan, as we've seen in the last year, games are not the same with empty stadiums and all that. Now, to get fans watching games at reasonable hours, like you guys, when you're saying like 1 o'clock in the morning and things like that, it's going to be very, very difficult to get the fans in as well, like particularly if it's a midweek game and all that, like, you know. And it's very, very hard to get proper football, and I mean this, and I don't mean this nastily, early in the morning, because you've got, you know, players used to playing at a certain time and things like that. So it's a very, very difficult situation. But ultimately, they haven't really thought about anybody other than themselves. They've not really thought, well, just sit down and have a little chat with the fans from abroad and the fans at home. What they've done is just looked at it and thought, well, I don't care about really any of the fans, really, as long as I'm getting their money. Not worried about how you feel about the situation or whatever. Just want your money, want my money. And they don't care how they're going to get it. And that in itself is so much disrespect to the fan of football, because I can't go and stop following Arsenal and go and follow Manchester United, as you can't follow Manchester, go and say, right, I've had enough of Manchester United and go and follow Arsenal. You can't do that. It's not like I don't know, like you go to you like Adidas trainers, but all of a sudden Nike bring out a cheaper pair. You're like, oh, I'm going to go to Nike and go. You know, it's not. You cannot do that. You cannot choose your football club, and so, in a way, they've got you to a certain, or they think they've got you to a certain degree. And that's where it comes in as the disrespect. Because they just expect you to just go along with what they want all the time. They expect, now listen, I'm pretty sure they sat in those meetings and thought, do you know what, we're going to get a bit of a backlash from Everton fans, Aston Villa fans, Newcastle fans. So what? We Everton fans, we can handle that. Our fans will be all right because we're going into the Super League and they'll all be happy. But that was where they was wrong. That was what they miscalculated, because Manchester United fans, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, and my God, Spurs fans, who shouldn't even be in it in the first place, revolted against it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Tottenham should be thinking, my God, we're lucky to be in this. But no, they protested as well. They weren't happy. No one was happy about it, because ultimately, when Arsenal play Manchester United, we may be rivals and all that, like, but we want things done right. We want to be fair. You know, I want to beat Manchester United fairly and squarely. Same as Man United want to beat Arsenal fair. You know, sometimes it don't work like that, but ultimately that's what you want. You want the, you know, there's an old saying in football, may the best team win.
Yeah.
No one really believes that, but that's what it's all set up on, like, you know. And the game is changing. The game's changing dramatically. You know what I mean? Like, for good and for bad. You know, with the TV and the VAR and everything like that. You've got to go with the times. I get that. You know, the Champions League, you know, for instance, are have hit their moral grounds and all that. But come on, they're as greedy as anybody else. You know what I mean? Because if they wasn't, you know, look how that's changing, putting into league tables and things like. It's called the Champions League. There there's less champions than anybody in it. You know, so you have to be fair, and I think fair and honest. And these 6 owners weren't. And unfortunately, Manchester United. And listen, I'm not because you're on a Man United channel. That Manchester United are the biggest club in England. Arsenal and Liverpool next. I think Arsenal get it because we're the biggest club in the south. You know what I mean? Like, so for Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool to be going down that route is very, very sad for English football. Very, very sad. The 3 biggest clubs in this country going for greed.
And absolutely. And you know what? The audacity of it, bothers me, because you have the likes of Arsene Wenger, you have the likes of Patrick Vieira, you've got the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson and Sir Bobby Charlton. You've got these people there whom you have not even thought. Forget Oli and forget Arteta and forget Klopp and Pep for a second. These guys are the absolute reason why these big 6 so-called have any chance to get into the Super League. Because at the moment, we don't deserve to be there, let's face it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the audacity to not ask them.
Exactly. When you think about it, what gives the right for Arsenal to be in I laugh at this word, an elite club league at this moment in time? We have not had a elite mentality for 10 years, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Manchester United, I think, have had the mentality, but for whatever reason, has never been run elite for since Alex Ferguson's gone, because of the way things are at Man United. So basically, the reason Manchester United and Arsenal were in it is because of the global and big fan bases. And they've totally thrown, not worried about that. The only reason Arsenal and Manchester United deserve to be in a Super League is because of the fans and their support, not their eliteness on the pitch. And what they've done is not worried about that.
Right. And I think the only reason Spurs are in it league is they have a convertible stadium that you can play hand and egg on. So I think that's the only reason they've got in there. But But Lee, tell me a little bit about the protests from yesterday. You were right there in the thick of things. How was the atmosphere there, and how was it sort of just to see fans united?
It was fantastic. I have to say that, now don't forget we had a little bit of controversy before earlier on in the day, so didn't really know how it was going to perceive, especially from the Arsenal Fan TV point of view. But it was sensational. Like, everybody was together. Everybody was. I tell you what was good about it. Everybody went there. There was a bit of drinking going on. There was young people, old people, middle-aged people, everybody there, all having their say, but doing it very, very peacefully and very graciously. And that was the best thing about it. Like, there was no trouble there. Unfortunately, one fella, I don't know if you've seen the video, fell off the bloody roof when he was on it, and hopefully he's okay. But there was no fighting. There was no fighting between each other. How fractured it's been in the past. It was well turned out, superbly turned out, and we didn't cause no trouble. We didn't stop any buses coming in or anything like that. We just stayed in front of the main shop. And it was just fantastic, and it was great to see the fans all united. And what was great about it was there's no doubt that the owners see it, heard it, and now they know exactly how we feel. And what they do about it now is very, very key, because if they care about Arsenal Football Club, they won't want to see that again. Absolutely. And that's what will happen with Man United if they do theirs about the Glazers. I think it's what you've got to try and do as an owner and go, I don't want that. I'm going to make sure that don't happen. Now, I can only say it from a personal point of view. When I went to that process yesterday, the love and attention that I got was absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Absolutely. It's nice to be loved. There was a couple of people out of, say, 300 that asked for a photo and all that were a little bit abusive to me or whatever. I don't want that was not very nice to have two people not very nice to you. Like the 300 was fantastic or whatever, where you got all the love and all that. You imagine if it was the other way round, how nasty that would be. No one wants to be disliked. No one wants to be unloved. So don't let it happen. Make sure that it don't happen. Now I understand the Glazers and the Kronkes have got a hard job to do, but they can change this around if they really, really want to. And it, you know, make decisions that are going to be happy for the football club and make the club a positive one.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean that has to be saying throwing millions of pounds at it and all that. It means doing the values of the football club that has gone in the past, through the Bobby Charltons of this world and the Patrick Vieiras and the Frank McClintocks and the Bertie Mees, the Dave Sextons of this world. And that's what you do.
But Lee, do you think these American parasites, is what I'm going to call them, have it in them to be able to make that change? Because at the end of the day, you've heard Perez and Angeli and all of these guys come out and say that this is not the end of it. It's not over yet. So
no, 100%. Listen, this is not over by a long chalk. And the other thing is, what you've got to say on this, right, is I'd love to sit down with the Glazers and Kronkes and go, can you tell me what was Arsenal's double winning team? Can you tell me what, Mr. Glazer, what was the team that started the 1979 Cup final for Arsenal and Man United? Can you tell me in 1977 who scored the 2 goals for Manchester United in the FA Cup final? Mr. Glazer, could you tell me that? Like, you know what I mean? Who did you sign Stuart Pearson from? You know what I mean? Things like this, things like the history of the club. Not learn about the history, not about making money and things like that. You know, find out what makes Arsenal Football Club click. Find out what makes Man United Football Club click. What makes the fans want to come through that turnstile every week? What is it?
Absolutely. And you know, Lee, I have to say that where the fans of United across the world, I'd say, not just the UK, across the world, and it doesn't matter club or whatever it is, that we know that we don't want this to happen. But of course, the other 14 teams that are there in the Premier League feel betrayed by this. And they obviously have pointed fingers and pointed their sort of guns towards these 6 clubs, and rightly so. But what punishments do you think are adequate for this kind of a crime, if you may call it, on sort of the emotions of the fans, so to speak? What punishment should be levied? Because Premier League clubs have gone as far, other fans have gone as far as saying points deductions, transfer bans, even relegate the team to the championship, because it has happened in certain leagues in the past where teams have been relegated. Juventus famously were. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen from the perspective in UK? What is the mood like?
Very difficult to start punishing teams. And I'll tell you why. If you punish Arsenal and Man United, right, the 14 teams want punishment, yeah? Right, okay, let's punish Arsenal. If Arsenal and Man United fans hadn't protested, this might well have happened. So I don't think it's fair to say, right, let's dock 20 points off of Manchester United, let's dock 20 points off of Arsenal, because that would then upset you and that would upset me. And then I'll be saying to the club, right, let's get out of here then. Let's go into the Super League then. Like, we're not having none of that. So it's a very, very difficult thing, because we don't deserve to be punished. You don't deserve to be punished. Why should I be punished for greedy owners? You know what I mean? So every time, if you punish the owner, you're punishing the fan. So for instance, yeah, all right, we're going to fine you, Mr. Kronke, Mr. Glazer, £100 million. That's what your fine is, right? Okay. So £100 million budget for the the midfielder and the striker that we was going to buy this season. That goes. So who's that punishing? Again, then it's punishing the fan. So I think they're in a very, very peculiar position to go around fining and that. Now,
but Lee, then I just want to ask you this before you go on. Leeds were docked 15 points. Wickham were docked 25 points. I think Birmingham were relegated because of their owners going into administration or the mistakes of their owners. So they're arguing if that was no different, then is it only because we're the big six and we bring the eyeballs? Are we going to be spared?
Yeah, I agree, but they're not in a position where they can walk away and ruin everything. Now, also, let's be honest, and I don't care whether you like it or not, Arsenal, in particular, I'm going to mention two teams, Arsenal and Tottenham. Been very, very difficult for them to say no to this. And then say, all right, we say no, all right, that's okay. We get Aston Villa and Newcastle in, or Everton in. You know, so if they've asked Everton to come in, do you think Everton would have turned around and said, "Oh no, we're okay. We'll let Liverpool down the road earn 200 million a year more than us"? I don't think they would. So, you know, they're peeved off because one, it could ruin them, and two, they weren't invited, and also it's well, hold on a minute, we're not an elite club. So they're I know, and I get what they're in a precarious position and not very, very happy. But ultimately, they've got to be careful, because if they were to say, right, we're finding you and we're kicking you out of this and kicking you out of that, these clubs could turn around and go, right, that's it, we've had enough. We're going to start our own league. And a league, let's be honest, without Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, right, straight away, them three teams, you know, is not the same. You know, Manchester and Chelsea are only at this table because of their owners, not because of their club status and fan status. Take Barcelona, Real Madrid and all that, then it all starts to change. Now, for me, you know, they've got to be some sort of mutual agreement that this is not going to happen again. But let's be honest, you don't think this is going to go away there. You don't think this is going to be there for, you know, whatever way you look at it, this is not going to go away. They may have kept quiet, but at the end of the day, these teams have kept their powder dry at this moment in time, and they've got the power. Look at Manchester United when they didn't go in the FA Cup one year. I can't remember what year it was, 2000, 2001. For money, not for the money of Man United, but for the money for the Premier League, wherever it was at the time. The FA Cup's never, ever been the same since that day.
Yeah,
that's not Manchester United's fault, by the way. But what I'm saying is Manchester United went out of that FA Cup for 1 year, and basically, whatever way you look at it, was a wrong decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, Lee, the problem here is that, yes, the Glazers are the problem. The STAN KROENKE is the problem. All of these guys are the problem. But at the end of the day, 20 years down the line, people are going to say Manchester United and Arsenal tried to form their own league. And our names, the history of the club that has been dragged through the mud, because Kronke and Glazers are going to go at some point, but the clubs aren't. At least I hope they are.
Exactly right.
So that's Lee, what's hurting me the most as well. So I just have one final question on this, and then I have just a couple of questions of the AFTV bit, but then we can sort of bring this to the end. One thing I want to ask you is that I know Burkau is also on AFTV, and there's a lot of talk about the 50+1 rule, the German model, to be implemented in England. Do you think it is at all possible?
Not now. Why would you want to sell? Why would you want to sell? Why would Glazers and Kronke want to sell 51% of their business?
Yeah, they have no shame. We already know that.
So I find it very, very difficult. We've let the cat out of the bag too late.
Right.
In my opinion, you know, I mean, it's not going to happen. Like, you know, it's a difficult one for me to answer. I don't see it happening. I'll be honest. I don't see it happening. It would be good if it does. When these guys sell, maybe they could sell different parts to it, all that. But if you're going to want to be a new owner, would you want to buy a club for £2 billion and not really be in control of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the difficulty. There's too much money now for these clubs and these, as far as business is concerned. Why would Glazers want to sell Manchester United? Because the Man United fans don't like them. They've not liked them for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason why they keep at the football club. There's a reason.
It's a cash cow. They don't want to kill their cash cow.
Exactly right. A cash cow they ain't going to want to give up. And also, I don't care whatever you say. It's the clout of it. If you want to go and buy something, well, what you got? Well, Manchester United Football Club.
Yeah. It's a status symbol as well.
Big statement, isn't
it? Yeah. You own one of the biggest sports brands in the world, to be honest.
In the world.
And I'm going to call it a sports brand for them because they don't care about the team or they don't care about anything.
But whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
it's a fact. Manchester United are up there as a global shining light, if you like, to do whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get you through doors that never they could get through before. Absolutely. All of a sudden, all those doors are opening. Why? Because they're owners of Manchester United Football Club or the owners of Arsenal. I've never heard of Stan Kronke until he become Arsenal manager. Arsenal owner. All of a sudden, the doors are opening for him wherever he wants to go.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. Yes. So, Lee, as I said, I want to ask you sort of obviously a pertinent question about AFTV and what another sort of Arsenal legend, you could say, Ray Parlour had to say to Don Robbie. And I know he directed it towards him, but of course, as a part of AFTV and as a fan who voices his opinion, how do you feel when sort of someone like that says that, you're actually wanting Arsenal to lose? Because in a sense, you can replace Arsenal with Manchester United for that. And he's essentially saying, we want United to lose because we'll get hits. How do you feel when someone like that says something like this?
Very hurtful. Very, very hurtful, because I've never ever wanted Arsenal to lose a game of football in my life. You know what I mean? I don't go following Arsenal up and down the country and in Europe and whatever to see them lose.
Yeah.
Meaningless game for us yesterday. We lost 1-0. I was still upset that we'd lost. And let's be honest. When they say, one thing that really does bug me, I earn more money, or you earn more money when Arsenal lose or Manchester United lose. Is that true? Right. This is how I see it. If Arsenal went out in the Europa League, and say we lose on this week, we've got no Europe next season, so that's 10 games, 11, 12 games. We're not getting next season. So am I earning money out of there's 10, 12 games that I'm not going to earn no money out of? So I don't see where that comes into it. We went out in the FA Cup in the fourth round. So that means you miss out on the review of the 5th, 6th, semi-finals and final. So it doesn't add up. Now, the other part of it is about views and hits and money and everything. Oh, and the other thing was saying, it takes the mickey out of you.
Yeah.
That's been part of football forever. It's just on a global scale now. Talk Sport, for instance, have been taking the mickey out of Arsenal for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. The Daily Arsenal, taking the mickey out of them, right? But that's fine, because you're getting paid from them. You know what I mean? Why are you on their show if it's taking the mickey out of Arsenal fans?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hypocritical of him, but let's be honest. He gets paid by TalkSport and he gets paid by Arsenal. So he's not going to come out and go gun-ho against Stan Kronke. And I get that. But I think that sometimes, we'll say things that we shouldn't say. And listen, if Ray's got a problem with the channel, fine. I've got no problems with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've spoken to Ray, like, you know what I mean? He's told me, like, don't go on the channel, Lee. You know what I mean? You're better than that. Like, was his exact words. But that's his opinion, and my opinion's my opinion.
Absolutely.
I've got the utmost respect for him as a player and a person. A great guy. But sometimes if your opinion, sometimes it's best not to say anything, because realistically, does he give a real opinion about Arsenal? No. Why doesn't he? Because it's not in his best interests. So why give an opinion about a channel, not just Arsenal channel, football channels was what he actually said.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, Lee, as well, I don't think that these people realize that before you or I started a channel, we supported the club. And if the channel shuts down tomorrow, we're yet going to support the club. And
Exactly.
it's not because we're watching on the channel. It's not like I'm watching. Let's say, for example, we play Leeds, and it's not like I'm watching it like, oh yes, Patrick Bamford scored, and I'm going to go all out on a rant. It's not that. It's genuinely the feeling of the fact that we've lost to one of our biggest rivals. And
Exactly.
how hard is that to understand? Even if that camera was not on, I'd yet be ranting the same thing to my friends and to my mates who are watching the game along with me.
100%. And now, that's a great point that you make. But when you look at it, before these channels come out and everything, this is a long time ago, you get somebody like Alan Hansen, who's a great pundit, by the way, telling me how he feels about an Arsenal performance. What put me onto the fan channels was fans. I was listening to Arsenal fans, what they thought. And that's where it's a great concept. It's a great concept is that you haven't got a Tottenham's pundit saying how you feel about Arsenal. You've got someone that feels the pain of an Arsenal fan or whatever. Now, when you go onto these channels, if you've not just got one fan, it could be 4 or 5. If you don't like what's on there, don't watch it.
Yeah. And there are 4 or 5 channels as well.
Yeah, same with the Man United. I've got no interest in EastEnders. But I don't go on there criticising it and saying like, oh, he's a bad actor or he's this and he's that. Like, I've got no opinion about it because I don't watch it. Now, Man United have got their channels. You've got your channel. There's loads of Man United channels and all that, like, because fans have a voice. All of a sudden, you're now. What the greatest thing? Say like when you miss a game or go to a game, you go to the pub afterwards, you're shouting in front of your mates and everything like, and you go, oh, if only he could listen to what I was saying and all that. All of a sudden now, you put it out there, the players are getting to the vibe of how the fans feeling, whether you think that's right or whether it's wrong. Now, I'm never saying, and I've never done it, is to abuse a player or abuse a manager and all that, but criticise, yes. Absolutely. And praise.
Yeah.
You have a good game, praise them. If they have a bad game, give them the criticism they deserve without going overboard.
Absolutely.
But these things were there always. Newspapers were about, you know what I mean? Like, but it was journalists that had been to university writing about the football club, not the average fan. And that is what's important. Average fan like you, me, anybody can get on a camera, on their phone, put it out there. It's just some are more fortunate than others, but more people watch them. That is all it's to do with. But it doesn't mean to say that your opinion is any less powerful than someone that's got more views and whatever. And that's the thing. And I'm going to be honest with you. And anybody who wants to go into this and all that, like, I don't look at the views. I don't even look at the views and whatever. I don't care. I just do what I do. Ultimately, what's the most important thing is Arsenal winning.
Absolutely.
And I don't care if I get 10 views or 10,000 views. That is the thing. And that I know that when you've got a channel that is driven by that, of course, it's like everything. You know what I mean? Like if you was a film director and you've got no one going through the cinema, you won't be making another film. It's as simple as that. There's a dog-eat-dog business in everything. Yeah. But ultimately, when you go on a fan cam and that, you do it for yourself and no one else. You're not representing nobody else but yourself.
Exactly. And I think that you've hit the nail on the head there. It does not matter. It's at the moment when you're doing it, you're not thinking of the views. It's the passion. It's the love for the club. And it's a way to express your understanding of the game. Because let's be honest, because with all respect to everyone who's played the sport at that level, some of the shit that these pundits chat on like these shows, it's appalling. It makes you wonder if they actually understand football. So it's not as if they've got some God-given right to talk about just because they were a great player, it doesn't mean that they'll be a great presenter as well.
Exactly. They're privileged to have become footballers, and good luck to them. They've been given with let's be honest, a God-blessed gift, right? And they've used it to their ability. fair play to them. That doesn't mean to say that their opinion is you know, I agree with, you know what I mean? I've got a great relationship with Kevin, and he was a professional footballer, but me and him argue about things all the time, and he never once does he turn around to me and say, hold on, I'm right because I'm a professional footballer. I'm right because I got paid for Arsenal. I'm right because I played for Everton. No, you've got an opinion, and that's what it's all about. It's a level playing field. When it comes to opinions, it's a level playing field. It doesn't matter if you played for Arsenal, Spurs, or you've followed the team. Your opinion is your opinion. It may be wrong, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're right or whether you're wrong. It's your opinion, and if you want to voice that opinion, fine. If you don't want to voice your opinion, fine. That's how it should be.
Right. So Lee, just to wrap this up, one final question: is Arteta on as much thin ice as the Kroenkes are with the Arsenal fans?
Oh, I think the ice is broke. I think he's in. You know what I mean? He's neck high in it. Neck high. It's not his fault. All of his fault. I think that, you know, if I be honest, the Kroenke's got to take a bit of a blame for it, because this is a manager with no experience, learning on the job, being found out too many times as far as I'm concerned. Not because he's not good, because he's not experienced enough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, it's like, you know, saying to me and you, like, right, go and manage
Arsenal.
Oh no, I'm going to manage Tesco's, a Brookfield, like, you know, a superstore. Go on, without any experience, go in there and do it.
Yeah.
You might be able to do it, but you have to hack your way around it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what's happening. He needed to get on the shop floor, learn a little bit more before it happened. And I'm honest now, like, you know, and I said it on my interview yesterday, at this moment in time, he's got a safety net. Lost to Everton yesterday, don't matter, you know, it's Thursday. He took our most dangerous player off in Pepe. What do people turn around and say? Resting him for Thursday. So at this moment, it's all riding on Thursday. If Arsenal don't win or get to the Europa Cup final, I expect to see him gone.
Right. Lee, and is your gut feel that Manchester United will take on Arsenal in that final?
No.
Right. So
I think Manchester United are going to find it very difficult against Roma. And I'll tell you why they're going to find it very difficult against Roma, because they've lost 3 or 4 semi-finals before of it. Absolutely. Now, once they psychologically get over that, yeah, they'll be okay.
And also, Lee, we've got Smalling to face, and you've got Emery to face.
Well, exactly. There's always, listen, you got Smalling to come back. We've got Emery. There's all little things in that football that'll always happen. But ultimately, Manchester United should get to the final, and so should Arsenal. Yeah. But there's still a lot of football to be played, and these two teams that we're coming up against are no mugs, otherwise they wouldn't be there. So Arsenal and Manchester United have got to perform. They've got to be on their best performances, and also the coaches have as well. Now, Ollie, I don't care what anybody says, last season messed up the FA Cup final by his selections.
The semi-final, yeah.
Semi-final. Yeah. In the semi-final, he messed it up. Not the team, he has to pick the right players. If he does, and Manchester United, I think, will go through. But ultimately, you know, they've fallen at a few semi-finals, and I think that can get in the old brain a little bit. Yeah. So, and I think that one advantage Man United have got on this is that it's 2 legs, not 1 leg. So if it was just like in all their other semi-finals, like, have been that, and it was unlucky against Manchester City last season in that competition. But ultimately, you know, Manchester City are a great side, so it was always tough. But you know, I do expect an Arsenal Manchester United final, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not.
If that happens, Lee, we're going to have you back on the channel.
Yeah, we're definitely we'll have a Europa preview.
Special, yeah. But before I end, I just have just want to say something to Kronke and the Glazers, and something that your dear friend would have said, and I could say with the utmost admiration and respect, it's time to go.
Time to go, like, you know what I mean?
Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us, guys. Do give us a like, do share the video, and do subscribe. You heard Lee. I think he was quite eloquent and heartfelt and emotional in his thinking of what Kronke has done to the club. And I think you could just replace the word Kronke with the Glazers, and I would have said the exact same things. So thank you so much, Lee, for coming on once again and
No
giving
problems
your time.
whatsoever.
And hopefully we'll have that Europa final preview.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Thank you.